I think that word imperialist is quite important because it's featured not only, I think, in the Labour Party's formal policies in government, but also, or in opposition, but also sometimes in its own internal procedures, which we'll get onto shortly. But one thing that interested me about what the two of you said is you've both spoken about role models. I mean, to some extent, okay, you know, I do like your story, Mish, about the Bernie Grant Leadership Programme, and people should know that the Labour Party took that step to encourage young BAME members to come forward. But also, of course, Bernie was instrumental in setting up black sections, which was the forerunner to what we now have, the BAME forums. So, Rule, can you explain to us why you became interested in the BAME forum? Do you see that as having an important role in the Labour Party? I mean, not just locally in Tower Hamlets, but does it help put BAME members on the map nationally?
Thank you, Jenny, for the question. Most definitely. I mean, we need a voice. We need a platform. So therefore, like the BAME forum is very important. We've since I've become the secretary, we've managed to pass so many motions, and we managed to sort of overturn certain decisions within the council. And I feel really great about that. You know, we have a voice. Until I became the secretary of Popular Alliance BAME forum, it was almost sort of non-active. The forum was there for many years, but when I became the secretary, I sort of started doing activities, regular meetings, the regular events. We're having one tomorrow, by the way. So it's almost like every month I'm actually organizing something on certain issues. Tomorrow we have a public event. We've invited people from the TfL to actually speak on the 24-hour bus lanes and how it's affected the whole London economy. So we'll have other dignitaries as well. I've invited MPs and mayors. So let's see how it goes. But I'm very, glad and proud of the fact that since I've become the secretary, I've managed to achieve many things, which I'm very proud of, to be honest. And I think it's a very powerful voice. We really need. I thank Bernie Grant. I know he played a very crucial part in actually, getting this out. And because of that, we have a voice. So basically, I was a councillor, and I actually, funny enough, I actually became a secretary of the BAME forum after, resigning from the council. So obviously a lot of my colleagues felt that I could do a really good job because I've always been active. Some say,
well,
really active. So,
that's the main thing, isn't it? That whatever
right,
you.
And I'm sure Jenny. I've campaigned on many issues in Tower Hamlets. We've managed. We've campaigned for the day.
Let's go on to talk about them because we want to get to the nitty gritty of the. I mean, both of you have spoken now about getting more BAME members involved and on the map in the Labour Party, and about campaigning. Of course, Mish has just been campaigning as well. So, just if you can just maybe, Mish, tell me a little bit. It's obviously I'm not not obviously, but in fact I'm not a Muslim myself. And so sounds a little bit sort of like them and us, but we have to explore these issues. And I think it's up to non-Muslims as well to say, well, this problem is our problem. It's not just, Muslims have got a problem, leave it to the Muslims to talk about. It's a general problem. So now I'm going to move on and ask a very silly question. Have you noticed, any Islamophobia in Tower Hamlets? There's a lot of Muslims in the Labour Party, possibly even a majority, and a third of the local population in Tower Hamlets is Muslim. So can there really be a problem even somewhere like Tower Hamlets?
Tower Hamlets has always been a hotbed of racism, we know from the history. And Labour Party has its fair share of these incidents. I, as a Muslim, I speak to people on a regular basis, and I did my own survey, regardless of this survey that was done recently, and a lot of people actually, until now, did not have. They felt they didn't have a voice. They were sort of suffering in silence. I've had people come out to me and say to me like they felt very intimidated. Like when they go to meetings, people aren't welcoming. People make indirect comments. These are the things that really concern a lot of people in Tower Hamlets, and a lot of people have been discouraged from sort of becoming members or even attending meetings. I know a lot of people who've come up to me since I've become active in the party, and they said, "Oh, look, Islamophobia, racism is rife in the party. So why should I actually join a racist party?" But personally, I was able to sort of convince a lot of people to come, because the only way we can change things is through participation in a political field. Like if you don't actually become a member of the party, how can you change things? So
exactly. But Rule, is it people feel an unwelcomeness and anti-Muslimness and Islamophobia in what the Labour Party does in its sort of political behaviour with the voters, or is it actually internally in terms of its behaviour towards its own members?
Yeah, both. I would say both. Like even members are, a lot of the times you find that members they feel uncomfortable, they feel intimidated because of like indirect comments or gestures that are made towards them. We see, like Misha mentioned earlier on, like high caliber figures, like they tweet Islamophobic tweets. We've seen this in the past, and not many people have actually faced up to them. So that's one of the reasons. And also the party, I feel is, it's about time. These findings are quite damning for the Labour Party, and a clear process map on how to tackle this issue needs to be shown to party members. We need clear commitments from Keir Starmer and Angela Rayner and the senior Labour Party leadership team to root out this problem of Islamophobia from the Labour Party.
Excellent.
I feel that both the party hasn't done enough. The party has taken the Muslim vote for granted for too long. It's about time the party takes action, takes this issue seriously. And like we know from history, the Muslims have always, the majority of the Muslims have always actually supported the party, regardless of whether the party was in power or not. Even now, a general survey was done recently, and it proved that majority of the Muslims still actually, after all these findings, still support this party because they feel this party represents them better than any other parties that are
I think
out
there's maybe a correlation between sort of class, which essentially is when we say poverty, that's what we mean, isn't it? Class. And voting intentions and people, the working class people looking for a party. And perhaps now the issue of racism in that party and the need for anti-racism in the party is now coming forward and getting mixed up in the class issue, much as in the 1980s, the issue of women in the party was much discussed amid some station on, etc., etc. So I'm grateful to people who've helped me in my journey over the last 30 years consider the position of Muslims in the Labour Party, and I think we have to open up a bit more about that. So, Ruel, can I see you trying to come in here?
Yeah, yeah. Can I just quickly come in? So I just wanted to mention, like, recently what happened was, like, we had a BAME meeting, I think about 2 months ago, and some people just sort of hacked into our meeting, and they started posting like very vile videos of like Osama bin Laden and stuff. They wanted to sort of ransack the whole meeting. So we had to abandon the whole meeting, basically. So you can see what goes on, yeah? So that's one incident. And another thing, like we've done from Poplar Limehouse is we sort of agreed to have a good number of sort of training, racism training and Islamophobia training in conjunction with Hope Not Hate. So it was very successful. So there were the people were separated into different groups. So the Hope Not Hate, I'm sure you've heard of them. They organized one with the Jewish community, one with the Black community, one with the Muslim community, and the sentiments were pretty much the same. People felt that the racism is still there. Institutional racism is rife within the party. Party needs to do more. Party needs to have more socials, and party needs to have more policy, and party needs to really take action, because sometimes, a lot of the time, people complain to the region, complain to the NEC, but nothing gets done. I know of cases where it's been years and the people haven't heard from the NEC. So these sort of things, it doesn't really help people when people actually put in complaints. I just want to clarify, just for your audience, Jenny, what Islamophobia really is, just for clarity. And it's actually a close-minded hatred, fear, or prejudice toward Islam and Muslims that results in discrimination, marginalization, and oppression. It creates a distorted understanding of Islam and Muslims and transforms diversity in name, language, culture, ethnicity, race into a set of stereotyped characteristics. As such, Islamophobia is a system of both religious and racial animosity. Just for the record.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so, apart from, can we just identify who really are actually affected? So in addition to Muslim men, women, and children, those who share characteristics that have been racialized as Muslim, whether it be language, clothing, or skin color, are also affected by Islamophobia. Thus, Sikhs, Christian, Arabs, and Hindu Indians have been targets of anti-Muslim animosity. Yeah, that's my point. Thank you.
No, thanks, Rahul. Yes, dear listener, I haven't reminded you of our telephone number. I know it's sunk below Keir Starmer's popularity levels, and the Labour Party maybe has to take on board it does need feet on the streets. So they're going to get feet on the streets in Tower Hamlets, Rahul. How do BAME members feel and the forum about going out campaigning for Sadiq Khan? Is that a done deal?
Tower Hamlets sometimes seems like another world, actually, from the rest of the country. Obviously, like I echo what Mish has said just now. Obviously, people aren't happy with some of the policies that have actually come, that have actually came from TFL and Sadiq Khan's office, such as the 24-hour bus lanes, which I'm actually campaigning on. Although it is a trial, but many believe that it's going to be permanent. A lot of private hire drivers, delivery drivers are up in arms because their livelihoods have been affected, literally thousands of people. So can you imagine politically that is very dangerous? Although Sadiq Khan is saying he has no option other than to actually listen to the guidelines of the government. Apparently, the government has actually gave him certain conditions which he has to meet to get certain amount of funding. So, but politically, if you think about it, Jenny, it's quite dangerous. A lot of the people, Labour supporters, I'm very active. I speak to people on a daily basis. We have regular meetings, online meetings, and people are really, really upset over the whole affair. It's going to be very difficult actually getting people out, to be honest. That is the reality. Yeah, that is the reality, because I speak to people, and like Mish said, I worry. We've already lost Scotland for good. It's going to be very tough getting Scotland back. I can't see actually Labour Party actually getting Scotland in the near future. The North, we lost over the Brexit issue last election, and God knows, and it's getting worse. Like Mish said, even outside of Tower Hamlets, people, the morale is very low, very, very low right now. It doesn't help when you're in opposition, and plus when you have Labour councils actually making all these cuts, which the Tory government wants, it doesn't help. Especially when frontline services aren't being actually protected. That is the concern of the average person on the street, you see. So I worry it's going to be very difficult actually campaigning during the May elections. Because I remember last time when I actually campaigned for Sadiq Khan, people were like really excited. They came out and we had a victory. it's always nice to win, but this time morale is very low. I have to say it's going to be very difficult.
I don't think London is the problem in itself. I think the safe places. I mean, I think Sadiq Khan will walk it in London, but in places like the Midlands where we shouldn't have a Conservative mayor, Metro mayor, where we do, it's going to be very hard for us right now, as things stand, to win this back for Labour. And these are the places where the difference is going to be made. Places in London or Tower Hamlets, we've all turned things in his favour. He's got this charismatic persona where people seem to think Boris is their friend. But, I mean, anybody with a right mind knows that Boris is not anybody's friend other than his own.
Absolutely. Okay, well, we need to begin to start.
Yeah. So, obviously, like, Sadiq Khan, he's a very popular person, like Mish said. He's well known compared to the Conservative candidate. And he has done his fair share of changes. He has delivered on, certain things, not all. But town is like I said earlier on, is a very interesting place. We have seen people actually voting in different ways and not delivering as the party expected. But this, you will get this, Jenny. When people feel the party isn't listening, then naturally people tend to sort of protest vote, like they did in up north during the Brexit vote. But I think Townless, being Townless, it's always been a Labour heartland, and most people have this Labour value in them. Instill, I come from a family. My father, my whole family, we supported Labour. I can't even imagine actually joining another party. If I'm going to do any politics, I will do politics with the Labour Party, not Lib Dems or Conservative. I can't even actually imagine, because the values that I value, which Labour has, I don't think any other party has. You see, I'm a socialist person, and most of the policies which suit me, and I feel that the government should really help people in the times of their need, and that's where Labour comes in. And Labour, time and time again, has shown that they can come and help and come up with really good initiatives, projects. We've seen this in the past. Whereas the Conservatives, we know that the party for the rich, party for the selfish people. They've never really looked out of the working class. You see?
Yes, I think. So one of you is using computer sound, and we're getting a bit of feedback and a delay. Could the Labour Party take what single measure or a couple of measures could the Labour Party take to attract back its voters and cheer up its members? What are you looking for?
I think Labour Party should be seen as the Labour Party. They should really be the party for the working class. They should be listening. They should be coming up with radical policies, like Mish said earlier on. And we should not be seen as the party. We should not be seen as the shadow of the Conservative Party. So we need to listen more, come up with new policies, dynamic policies, and engage with the public. Only then I think we can, form a government and come into power. So I don't think that is happening right at the moment. We need to unite. Obviously, all the parties have factions, but there will always be different thoughts and different difference of opinions within parties. But we need to unite, come together, and hopefully once we can listen and come up with policies, we can actually form the government. That's my.
Well, lovely. I think you both presented excellent pictures of